Kunlen Ablat Gemara, we are up to Lamed Hey Amad Aleph. We're right in the middle of the discussion of the Raglim, which actually is just a digression because we're talking about the weight of the grapes, which is a digression, as we're talking about the weight of the stones when they're crossing the Yarden. So soon we'll resume back, to the Yarden, but first we're still continuing with our digression. So the Gemara continues the story, and we spoke about Kalev, how Kalev ensured himself that he won't go astray and follow the other Meraglim. So the Gemara continues how he silenced the people. He sort of pretended to be on their side. You think Moshe did that? And then he told them, Moshe did, gave us the mon. He took us out of Mitzrayim. So if you tell us to go to heaven, we would follow him. So we're up to here. We follow him up in there about 20 lines on top of the page. It says the pasuk, and the people that went up with him, they said, they said we cannot go up to Mitzrayim, to Israel. It's amazing what they said. But Isa in that moment, he said it's stronger from him. Now, mimenu can mean mimenu from all of us, or mimenu can mean from him. And al tikr mimenu from all of us, el mimenu from him. Kavayocha from the Abishah they were saying. I feel about that the Abishah himself cannot overcome 31 kings of Canaan. Rashi says, I don't understand this. It's read the same way. And Rashi therefore omits it. But I saw one of the Mefarshim saying, I can't remember what it was, I'm forgetting. And he said that there's a difference if it's a Dogish or a Rafa. There is a difference in the pronunciation by us Ashkenazim, not really, but if other means of speaking, there's a difference in the pronunciation if it's from them, from us or from him. And Rashi being Ashkenazi wasn't into those. There's so much into that. Anyway, I don't know. It's a land that consumes all those people who live there because people were dying right, left, and center. So they were using that as a complaint. I did it for their benefit, so they'd be distracted. They turned it into something bad. I thought it was good. Whichever region in Israel they arrived, mace. The Chashva people they would have died. They should be so distracted. And they won't ask, who are these strangers here? In fact, who died was Eve. Eve died. Well, having first prayed in Mobasa, a big machlek is fascinating. Who Eve was, and it was a Yid guy when he lived. And one of the opinions is that he was there at the time of Mitzrayim. And it says that Eve was protecting the goyim, and therefore they shouldn't be worried about it because he died. But they were all worried. And they turned it into something bad. Now, if only Eve died, doesn't mean only Eve died. That many people died. People were dying right, left, and center. But especially Eve died as well. It took away the protection from the goyim. Otherwise, if only Eve died, what would think people do die. Individuals. Okay, here the same saying, but we were in our own eyes, we were like grasshoppers there. That's how they saw us. The Rebbe uses this line always. The way you see yourself is how the rest of the people, the way you see you. If you don't have enough confidence in yourself, then people don't have confidence in you either. So if we feel that we are like grasshoppers, we feel that we're incompetent, then that's how the Cain whether it's true or not is irrelevant. So we need to, as the Friedrich Rebbe said, just like you have to know your chesronos, you also have to know your milas, know what they are, develop them further, and so on. They were liars. They can say we felt so small compared to them. That's true. How in the world do they know what those people are thinking? It's not true. Says the Gemara. And the Mephoshim want to know where the Gemara knows from, how they learned this out. But it says when they came back from the funerals and they were sitting in the mornings under these cedar trees, they were sitting there getting their food. So this havra is, I guess, it's like a wake, which everyone had. The Chazinu, when these spies saw these giants sitting there under the trees, they were frightened. They went and climbed the tree up the tree to the top of the tree. In Shami, they heard these people sitting under the tree and talking beneath them. You see these little grasshoppers. They look like they have a human form in the trees. So you see, that's how they saw them as well, like grasshoppers. Kamsi. Taisha the Shans is fascinating. I told you, we quoted him many times here, but he brings their medrash. I'll quote you. He brings their medrash. Just amazing. Here it is. He brings a mention of the Kumti. He says it says in Medrash. There's a daughter with a daughter of Anna that she went to the orchard of her father and she stole a pomegranate. Remember, we know there were giant pomegranates from the tree, and she threw away the shell. And there was one of the spies who decided to enter. She ate the inside and left behind the shell. One of the spies was able to crouch and inside. Use as protection this particular peel of the pomegranate. But he was scared. Then she got scared, and maybe her father will find an empty shell, accuse her of stealing it, and who knows what the punishment will be. So therefore, what she did was she picked up the pomegranate and threw it out of the orchard. And the spy that was in there picked it up and left and did not rejoin the rest of the spies, or he just left. So that's how you see how small they were in real size. It wasn't just like Neo Grain and government. He could fit inside the pomegranate that this girl just finished eating. My teacher later, everyone raised their voice. Eating those kind of started to cry. They raised their voice and started to cry. That day was either Tisha B'Av according to some versions, or it was Erev Tisha B'Av according to others. Erev probably over here means the night of Tisha B'Av, not the day before. Because then why is Tisha B'Av the day that all the tzaddas happened? They cried for naught. And I'll give them a reason to cry. As we're learning more time, there's all the terrible things that happen to Tisha B'Av. There's an interesting chakira amongst the Achronim in Sachetainis. Is the pshat that Tisha B'Av was already destined to be a bad day, and then all of these things just happened, and or the other way around? Because they cried, they transformed the day that should have been a good day into a bad day. Then the whole old people said, let's stone them, Kalev and Yeshua. They actually took stones and they threw it, tossed not only the human beings, but also the Eibush himself, up to the Eibush himself. They died. It says Ra b'Magefa. Should have died a bad misa. How do we know? Either from the word Ra, according to some of the word Magefa, the Ba Magefa. So it means that the famous Magefa. What actually happened to them? The tongues extended because everything's from Lashon Hara from the tongue. The Nafal out to Buddha, and it came back to the source where they came from the navel, the umbilical where it started. And worms were coming out of the tongue when it entered the stomach. Well, you created, you were innocent, you could have turned into anything you wanted. And instead, what happened to you? Look what happened. You decided to destroy Klal Yisrael. So it went from the navel to the tongue. They died from diphtheria, which is the punishment for Lashon Hara, which needs an explanation. That it's all about Lashon Hara. Meraglim. Why do we say the Sheish Chiris? Remember, we shouldn't say Lashon Hara because what happened to Miriam? Yeah. We should have used the Meraglim as a much stronger thing. Miriam is a private thing between Miriam and Moshe. This is Klal Yisrael was affected to forever. So why don't we use that as a paradigm? That this is the results of Lashon Hara. Don't know. I mean, Drush I know, but not in Pshat. Now we're going back to the Yarden. The Eden crossed the Yarden. The water reverted. When the Kohanim left the Yarden, they lifted their feet and they put it on the dry land. And the Yarden went back. The water flowed just like the day before. Al Kol Gedesa and all its banks. The Kohanim said, what happened as a result of that? They stepped back. They were only, remember, we learned before they only put their foot in the water. So it sounds like they stepped back. So the Eden were on the west side of the Yarden, and the Kohanim were on the east side of the Yarden. And this happened, and the Aron lifted those that carried it and brought it to the other side. Then it says, when they finished crossing the Yam, that's when they passed. Miraculously passed. And that's what Uzzah was punished. Remember, the Plishtim confiscated the Aron. 7 months later, after all the terrible tragedies that they had, they sent it back on a wagon. And then it stayed in somebody's house for 20 years. And then Dover Melech wanted the Shalayim, and the Dover Melech sent wagons to bring it to the Shalayim. And then it was traveling to the Shalayim. It threatened to fall out to Adam. So Uzzah extended his hand, tried to save it, and he died. He was killed. David was angry. that even though Uzzah might have made a mistake, he shouldn't have been killed for it. So now it's good because Aaron can carry an Eisah. Shneimar says, "Vayavoya ad Goyd and Kidon." They came to Goyd and Kidon. But Shalach Uzzah. What did Uzzah do? He stretched out his hand, and Vayishlach Uzzah's yoda. He stretched out his hand. Lech is Aaron to grab a hold of the Aaron. It shouldn't fall down. I'm not going to Baruch Uzzah Neisa like Hoshkein. Mother the Aaron can lift the coin and it can't lift itself. This is what the Chassidim always used to say. And if somebody immerses in learning Torah, then the Torah is going to lift you out of all your tzaras that you have. Other noises, noise up. Other use it for people who give charity to Moses that teach Torah. And the Aaron will carry those who carry the Aaron. Like Koshke, surely, so why do you have to stand unprotected? Hashem was angry that was this possibly Yicharaf Hashem is really hard to understand. David was angry that I mean, I say that, but why would they be angry? The guy made a mistake, a shogeg, and he tried, he did for the right reason, according to one pshat. So, by getting him al hashal, it said over there that Abish get angry and he hit him al hashal. What does al hashal mean? So we have two types. Because of what he did. Chadamish also tracha b'fanav, that he didn't treat the Aaron with enough respect, that he went out there and he laid waste, or he defecated somewhere. Obviously, he didn't do mamish from the Aaron. That's what we're talking about. He did it somewhere distant, but still was in front of the Aaron. He shouldn't have. We learned that all kinds of dinning, which direction he should face in the bathroom, a million miles away from Shalim, so that's what he did wrong. Now, if you say shal means that, then you can stand by Yicharaf Hashem. But if it's just that he at least that he tried to save the Aaron, that he just forgot, why by Yichar Hashem? Okay, he gets punished maybe, but what's like Yichar? He died. He died. He was rewarded. He got punished for the shogeg that he did, but he got rewarded. No, the fact that he didn't show enough respect for the Aaron, from here you know he shouldn't touch a cloth of a sefer Torah. If you have to fix up the sefer Torah, you hold your talus or something. But on the one hand, he got punished, and at the same time, he got rewarded that he will go straight to Olam Haba, directly to Olam Haba, because it says Im Aaron Lekim, Ma'aron Le'olam Kaim lives forever. Avuzu Olam Haba goes to Olam Haba. Which is again very odd to have punishment and reward at the same time for the same action. It's not for two different activities, for the same action that he did, that which he tried to save the Aaron. So he went, he did the Shemayim, so he got rewarded for the same thing. They should punish him. It's not as difficult to understand as why by Yicharaf Hashem that you're acknowledging that he did the right thing in his mind. What's the Vayichar? Anyway. Yeah, but Vayichar is more than punishment. Vayichar is like angry. Why in the world did you do that? Anyway, so whoever Uzzah was, maybe he should have known better. What kind of word is Vayichar? That's got red, or you got black. When you take a biscuit and you put it directly on coal, it gets all black charred. Every time it means that. A white taka can't mean that, maybe it does. But anyway, the Gemara says, it says af, it means just get angry. But because it doesn't say af, it's just a description exactly what it was. It means it got totally charred like a biscuit in the water. Why was David punished? Because what's the punishment? Interesting that Uzzah died because of David. We're calling that a punishment to David. David didn't suffer at all. Just maybe Uzzah was a good friend of his, or that he felt guilty that because of him, Uzzah died. Now, why is it so much because of him? Uzzah stayed hand. David never told him to extend his hand, because David should never have sent the wagons in the first place. Because we know that the Aaron is carried on the shoulders, and the Aaron Neisas. So David should have known better. Uzzah was like the what do they call that in psychology when you transference? It was like transference. The whole thing really was David's Aveira, because David sent the wagons, and therefore, which he never should have, because the Kohanim and the Levim carried on their shoulders. And then Neisas, Machlekes and Mefosha, by the way, Neisas every single time, but just that event in the Yarden. But let's say Neisas. And Uzzah sent and David sent the wagons, misled everybody else, thinking that it's a normal thing that you have to transport, and that's why Uzzah extended his hand. Didn't realize Neisas, because suddenly there's a wagon here. If Neisas, why is there a wagon here? So really, David was the one who made the error. So even though the Abish was angry with Uzzah, it was really angry with David. Says he went further. And Marg is another reason. You refer to it as songs. He treated it like this. Remember, meters and the Torah was like a song to me that kept me going. And so I'm not going to work with the Torah because it says in the Torah regarding the Torah, such a precious thing. It says, if you just close your eyes for a minute, so you forget. What do you call it? A song? It's something like hip hop. I'm going to make sure that you do not that even kids know. So it says when they cost like when the Nassim brought these wagons and they donated it, they gave it to all the different Levium, B'nai Merari and B'nai Gershon, but did not give it to B'nai Kos because the chores that B'nai Kos had, they had to do it manually and carry it on their shoulders. And what did David HaMelech do? He sent the wagon to retrieve the Aron. So it was his thing. Then it said, as they were passing through, the people of Shemesh saw the Aron, they all died. Somebody will see soon, 70,050 people died. 50,000 and 70 people died. Because they saw the Aron, therefore they were punished. But what about it's the saw the Aron and then the nonchalant way that they went about their own things and totally ignoring the kedusha of the Aron. What they do? They continue reaping their fields and working in their fields, and b'shas ma'aseh they were bowing down to the Aron. So they didn't give it due respect. They said some words that what's going on there. Man, who got you so angry that you got an interesting word in Amr means angry? Rashi says, who got you so angry that you took away the Aron from us? For 7 months, what do we do then that took away that we deserve that Aron should be lost? Anybody's you get angry that you had a right to be angry in us, so therefore, man, also so now you bring it back. Why you want us to be happy? 70 people, the Chamishim elevation, 50,000 people. So because it says in two separate groups, it sounds like two separate events. The people of Shemesh, they lost 70 people and they lost 50,000. There's an argument about 70 people died. But each person there in that city was equal to 50,000 people. So in other words, they were very, very chashuv people. Ben Shemesh, I don't know if it's Ben Shemesh, I love Beis Gimel, which we're talking about here. And they should have known better. Or the 50,000 of them died. Each one of them was equal to 300. It was even greater in a way that that entire city population, they were all great chashuv people. It says in the pasuk further, he happened when they stepped. There was a carried Aron. Shisha tza'adim, 6 steps. These animals, count of sheep. See, it says another pasuk. When carried on, it says they shechted Shiva, put in 7 cows, and Shiva Elam and 7 rams. Every step they took, they were bringing it to Yerushalayim, to Ir David. Every step they took, they brought kabbanis. Every single step they brought just a single carbon of each, and every 6 steps they brought Shomerai and and every 6 steps they brought Shiva Podim and Shiva Elam. A lot of animals. Other than came Malaysia, called Israel, but you have to build them as bech every step. Elam Rav Chizah. As if this really helps a lot. Every 6 steps they brought animals back, and every bunch of 6 steps, Shiva Padim Shiva Elim. They did 7 Padim and 7 Elim. And this, I guess, to show we had the Gemara Kedusha. That the only reason why they should create the world is for Torah, and we just got the on back. So therefore, 6 days it took the to create the world. So every 6 steps, they acknowledge, okay, the world now is going to continue because we have the on back. So we still have the on. We never lost it. Because, Yeshio, according to one opinion, the Gemara, remember we had, it went back to Bubble. It's lost. But we accepted, I'm a pastor, that Yeshio buried it underneath the base of Mikdash, so we never got lost. And that's the idea of 6 steps. See, it says in the pasuk, they came to a place called Goyen Kidon. And then it says in the pasuk, another pasuk, it says they came to a place called Goyen Nachai. And then the story of the Uzzah. So which one is it? One is the Yami and one is Shmuel. So which one is it? It says the Gemara, first it started out Kidon, that it was it killed all these people. Made Shemesh like a sword. It killed all these people. Killed Uzzah. Not Shemesh, killed the Uzzah. But then finally came to this resting place. And it stayed 6 months or stayed in the place of Ovid Edom. He actually treated with a covet, and he was rewarded. He had many, many children, and his daughters had sextuplets. I don't know if you have some of the women, if that's a baruch or not, have 6 years at a time, but they had sextuplets, and then he had a lot of kids. So it was a good thing. So it started out bad. Uzzah got killed, kid in a knife, and it ended off Nachon, the things that were good. Then it actually brings another pshat here, just exactly the opposite. That we're talking about it here, the guidance about Vona Hayabusi, the person that Government brought you to Shalayim from. First, the Mizbeach was there, then it got destroyed. Kida means destroyed. And then later it became Nachum when they put it in the permanent home of Government took it away. It says even further, let's get back now to the stones. There are 3 kinds of stones. My one set of stones that Moshe Rabbeinu set up in the hours Moshe. It says maybe they have my Poyel Moshe by it. It says Moshe began to explain the Torah. It doesn't mention a word about stones. So I don't know he put on stones. Well, how long because after you should write the Torah on it. And Va'asya we have example by which is just like by Yeshua they wrote it on stones. So by Moshe also they wrote on stones. That's the first set of stones. Then we learned that Yeshua had 2 sets of stones. One that he set up in the Yarden itself. And one of the archaeologists to look for it. And the other one is they set up to 12 stones. They took them to Harevel and Hargrizim, and then they brought it back to Gilgal. Remember, we said the reason is a case in the future. People question if that ever happened. They look at the stones. That's what we learned. Kate said, how did they write the Torah on the stones? We learned last time. Is what exactly they wrote on the stones. Was it possible to write the Torah in 70 languages on the stones, on 12 stones? It was only a certain section of the Torah. It was only 10. Was it only wrote a different part? Rabbi Yehuda says they wrote it on the stones because the different sukkim. So this is how we're gonna have a machlekes. Rabbi Yehuda said they wrote it directly on the stones. Remember, it said the Safta alavonim as kotiva terazayis, right on the stones. Then they covered the plaster. Now the purpose of writing down 70 languages so the goyim could come and see the Torah and see if they can learn it. And the Torah explains that we're learning more about the Zohar that they went around all the nations of the world saying to them you want the Torah, and they didn't accept it. So the Eibush they didn't accept the Torah, but now that they got the Torah. They all went into the stone, they read it, they knew the Torah, and they still didn't follow the Torah. Now the punishment is far greater. And despite all that, the Eibush said, I'll give you one more chance to build a sukkah. The whole purpose was the Goyim should see the Torah, that's why it's in 70 languages, but you covered the plaster. So what was the point? He said, Bini said, they gave him wisdom. They sent over there their scribes. The kilfos asid, they removed the plaster. The siyua, and they took a copy of it. They put wax everywhere. They put wax on it, and they took a copy of it, and they brought it back around. And because this time around they didn't listen to Torah, their fate was sealed. So they should have been learning the Torah, and they didn't learn the Torah. However, Teis doesn't understand. If so, it says Neschatim, then what's the whole Gemara about the Zohar? Hashem gave him another chance. Neschatim means that's it. It's the end of the line. It's sealed, signed, sealed, delivered. And because they said to him, "Oh, did you take the mountain and threaten us to the mountain?" Unless the pshat is pushing legally, they shouldn't have to do anything. But they should decide to be nice. And Teis brings the Torah Chid. I don't like that answer. Now it seems the reason why they should why put the plaster there in the first place? If the whole idea was that they're going to see the words, they're going to remove the plaster, it seemed like the Eibishter wanted them to make a little bit of an effort. If you make something with a little bit of an effort, there's a hope that you're going to value it and treasure it and do something with it. Something that comes easy to you, it leaves easy. You make money easy, it leaves you easy. If you had to work hard for it, then I remember there was a very wealthy Yid in Caracas, so the Shliach there asked us to go to him. I knew his grandson very well. I was proud of him to try to get a donation from him for the yeshiva. So I remember I went to his house, and he's very, very well. And he gives me nothing. And I said to him, young kids, I started saying names of people who were making money then. They were bankers, and there were a few that were bankers, and they gave us a lot of money. I said to him, understand, these are your friends, and they're giving money. He said, let me tell you something. I built up my wealth because my wife used to get up 7 o'clock in the morning, go to the factory. We used to make schmatters. Didn't come home till 9, 10 o'clock at night. Our blood and our Shleis is inside every garment that we produced. When you part of yourself is inside your products, you don't know to give it away. Or when you're a banker and you're in the share market, money comes to you, you don't appreciate the value of money, then it's no good to give it away. So therefore Rabbi Yehuda says they have to make an effort to copy the Torah. Not that it helped, but at least maybe. However, Rabbi Shimon says, they wrote directly on the plaster itself. But that's one argument. Second argument is, big argument as follows. The 7 nations in Eretz Yisrael, you had to destroy. What happens, and even if they want to become a ger, we're not going to accept them. What about people, members of the 7 nations who lived outside Yisrael? They emigrated. What's the story with them? They're part of the 7 nations, you have to kill them. Do we tolerate gators from them and say, oh, if you're a guy and you live outside Yisrael, you're in Mitzrayim, for example, okay, we'll take you in. And that's a machlek, is another machlek, Yehuda and Rab Shimon. Rab Shimon says, because you didn't learn to do everything that what it says in the Torah. He said, I want the people to know why in Eretz Yisrael you can't live with these Canaanites, so you shouldn't learn from them the terrible ways. If they would have done tshuva, not those in Eretz Yisrael, but these members outside Yisrael, they would have accepted them. They would have accepted them. Says the Gemara, only those who live in Chutzlar. According to Rav Shimon, according to Rav Yehuda, if you're a member of the Zayin Amin, no matter where you live, we will not accept your tshuva. You have to be killed. My time Rav Shimon. What's Rav Shimon's father? How does he say you wrote directly on the plastic sleeve? It says a possible. Well, Amin says that these nations misrefais sit burnt like plaster. What do you mean? Al iske sit. You know why they got punished? Because of what happened on the plaster, what was written on the plaster, which is the Torah, and they didn't observe it. Rabbi Yehuda said, no, it means kisi, just like plaster. Masi, the only way to produce plaster is through fire. Also, these nations, these 7 nations, will, no matter where they are, no matter where they live, they have no way of doing. They have no way of doing tshuva, that they have to get killed. Come on. Sorry, the way Rashi learns is other nations, not the Zayin Amin. The Zayin Amin have no truth at all. But the other nations of the world, they will go to Gehenna unless they become Gedim. If they become Gedim, then the Rashi interesting. Al Sreif of Rashi, Gehenna. Sreif means Gehenna. Because man she'aim is guiding the Amim. As long as they don't have the name of the of a Yid, they're just called Gentiles. Ain't Chelka Mishra said they have no chelik. Even though the Rambam passes clearly that Goyim have a chelik in Elam Haba, which must be according to Rav Shimon, who doesn't dash and Mishra see that all Goyim go to Gehenna unless they become a Yid. Chasidu Masailam. Says about it further. Come on, all the time. So who said, according to who does it follow what it says? The Shavisa Shevya, the rabbis Kanani, it says that what they should go ahead in the beginning. If you say it says that if you capture these women, you bring them home. This is the story you fast tell you to tell you that what the Kanani that the 7 nations, if they live outside of Yisrael, you can convert them and let them live. That does not follow Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda knows that if you're part of the 7 nations, I don't care where you live, male or female, is a chaya kol neshama. Here it says, not only the Stam nations, but even Canaanim should be chutzlar, after chutzlar. Shem chayzim b'tshuva mekabenos, if they do tshuva, we accept them. Keman, that goes according to Rab Shimon, it follows Rab Shimon. Okay, we'll stop here until tomorrow.